Hello, it's Jay here again and welcome to another tutorial. So in this lesson we're going to begin a new script. Now I know some of you have requested vehicles and they will be coming. We will have vehicles in the game that you can get in and out of and travel around your particular map. But I wanted to also implement a fast travel system, and because the fast travel system is going to be a lot simple, and because we've spent so much time on one script previously with the inventory, I thought we'd do the fast travel first. But for those of you wanting vehicles and other modes of transport, it will be coming. But for now, let's begin by creating a new C# script, and we will just call this fast travel, and we'll open it for editing. And as normal, we're just going to get some of the basics in place first in this lesson. So we'll begin with our little block of code. And it's the 28th of the 9th as I record this lesson, so I'll put that in. And we're going to come to the very top here. Let me just get rid of that message. And we'll start by creating a private of type transform with the capital T, fast travel 0. We're going to close that line off, and we'll put it into the comments. So we'll say fast travel 0 game object transform. Now you can name your fast travel points anything you like, but there's a reason I'm going to name them this way to begin with. I would suggest naming them the same way as I'm going to do, at least to begin with, and then once we've actually completed this script, then you can go back and rename them as you see fit. And I would advise doing one at a time and testing and making sure everything still works. But with that said, let's just copy this line, and I'm going to have 3 fast travel points. Again, you can add as many as you like, but I suggest starting with 3 like myself, and then adding any extra ones you want later. So now we've pasted those in, we've just changed to 1 and 2. We're going to come here, and this can be of type private as well. It's of type float, fast travel safe radius, and I'm going to make that equal to 20f, and we'll close the line off. In fact, I'm going to make this public because I think, in fact, I can almost guarantee that you will need to experiment with this radius. So let's make it public, and then you can experiment from within the inspector. Fast travel is safe as an enemy is not closer than this distance. And that's exactly what this float is for. We're going to have code later on that's going to detect the enemies, detect how far away they are from the player, and like most games, if an enemy is too close, then we will not be allowed to fast travel. And obviously the opposite is true. If the nearest enemy is far enough away, then we can fast travel. And because we're going to implement fast travel in that way, we need a certain number of bools. So we'll create private bool underscore player cannot fast travel. We'll close that line off into the comments, and we'll put in the comments creates bool for if the player can fast travel or not. And we'll create another private bool underscore player is fast traveling. Let's close that line off. Into the comments, creates bool for when the player is attempting to fast travel. And another bool, private bool underscore fast travel in progress. Let's close that off and put it into the comments. So we'll say creates bool for when we are in the process of fast traveling. And as always, if you're unsure of how these are going to work, please don't worry, we will go over that when we implement functionality within this script. But we'll continue on for now and create some more variables. So we'll begin with this time as type public, and this is a texture 2D underscore fast travel fade screen. We'll close the line off, into the comments, create slot in inspector to assign fade screen. And this is because if we can fast travel, when we actually select we want to fast travel here, we're going to have the screen fade out and fade back in, and we're going to use a plain black texture that's going to fill the entire screen, so that will fade in and fade out as we fast travel. We'll come below public float underscore fast travel fade value. And we've used things like this before in the blood splatter effect on screen, so hopefully you all probably can guess how we're going to do this. It is going to work a little bit differently in this script, but for now let's get the comments in place. So we'll say defines fast travel fade value. We'll come below here, public float fast travel fade speed, and I'm going to give mine a value of, in fact we'll say 0.25f. Let's close that line off and we'll put in defines fast travel fade speed. And let's come below here. Now obviously we're going to need some GUI buttons so we can actually select which fast travel point we would like. So we'll make these public again so you can experiment in the inspector to find values that suit your project, but public int underscore fast travel, and we'll just say button horizontal, and I'm going to give mine a value of 150. These are ints, so remember no f is required at the end of the number this time. So we'll say defines size of fast travel button horizontal, and we can just copy the entire line. Let's paste it in, and we'll just change the naming convention from horizontal to vertical. We'll have to assign a value. I'm going to make mine 25, and we'll change the comment. So we do have more variables we are going to need, but these are the basic ones we'll be using to begin with. We'll come back and we'll put the rest of the variables in when we actually handle some of the more complicated coding and functionality within this script. But this will allow us to get some of the basics in place. And we're going to do something new in this series. We're going to create of type public, of type string, and we're going to open and close the square types of brackets. This creates an array so we can actually store more than one variable. Underscore fast travel names. So this is the naming convention for the array of strings we're going to put below. And because this is C#, we need to define it as a new string with the open and close square brackets. So I just thought it would be interesting in this case just to get this, do something a little bit different. And we do need to close that line off as normal. So this is going to create an array of our fast travel names. So let's get that into the comments. We'll just say creates an array of fast travel point names. And we'll come inside here and we'll put in the little speech marks, and we're going to use the same names as we used here. Only this time we're just not going to have the underscore, and we're going to begin with a capital letter instead. Comma, speech marks, and we just have to fill it in the other two, fast travel 1, comma, and finally for fast travel 2. And much like the enum blocks we've created in the previous scripts, no comma is required for this last one. Now obviously you're going to want to change these naming conventions within your game. So you may have like village, city, outskirts, something like that as a naming convention for your game. But just remember, if you change them here, you'll need to change them here as well, so you know which one corresponds with which transform here, or which game object and its transform. But again, I'm going to keep with these naming conventions because I realise that all of you are going to require different names depending on the scene that you've created for your game. So there's no point in me really using anything other than generic names for the fast travel points, at least in the purpose of this video. Obviously I wouldn't keep these names for a finished project, but again what I suggest is that you name them, as I said, the same as I have here, and when we've completed the script entirely, come back and then change one of these at a time. So if I were changing this to village, let's say, I'd change it here, I'd change it here, and I would also change it in a number of other places that we're going to be dealing with in future videos. But we'll go through that, and I may just do a little segment once we've completed the script where I just change one of these names and go through everywhere in the script and in the project that it needs to be changed. So with that said, let's come here below and we'll create of private fast travel states. And yes, we will be creating a switch block as we often do. And in case you were wondering, the reasons why I use a lot of switch blocks is running a switch block requires very little in terms of resources, and I've already explained how only certain sections of code run at any one time. So a fantastic way to optimize your code. And because this is a beginner's tutorial, it's good to get into the practice of creating these blocks, because as I said, they will make a real difference when you have a lot of scripts in terms of performance of your game, especially on lower end hardware. So with that in place, we'll say underscore fast travel states. With the underscore in front, let's close that line off. Do not worry about the red error. Let's get this into the comments. Defines naming convention for fast travel states. We'll come below here and we'll create a private enum, and we'll use the same naming convention of fast travel states. So exactly the same as it is here. Let's open and close those brackets. As you can see, the red error has disappeared. And I think we'll save it off there, because in the next lesson we're going to fill out this function and create the switch block. So I think it would be good to do that all in one lesson. We've got a lot of the basics in place and we can continue on. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time, and until then, as always, bye for now.